It was supposed to be a routine visit, just a young woman arriving at a military base with proper clearance and a mission. But in the next 5 minutes, everything would turn upside down. A stubborn guard would challenge her identity. An entire gate would be thrown into confusion. And within minutes, 3 of the highest-ranking generals in the region would rush toward the gate because of her. This is the story the guard wished he could erase. Welcome to United War. Intro, 40 seconds. On this channel, we explore real military moments, untold stories, hidden courage, and the truths buried behind protocol and discipline. Today's story is not about war, but about respect, rank, and reality, and how one guard learned a lesson he would never forget. Now, let's begin Part 1. Part 1, The Denial. Approximately 10 minutes of narration pacing. The morning was quiet at Fort Ravenwood, a high-security military installation tucked between thick forests and rolling hills. The sun had barely risen, the air still cold, the fog lifting in thin layers like wisps of smoke. At the main gate, Guard Sergeant Miller stood stiffly at his post, his uniform crisp, boots polished, an expression permanently carved into a look of annoyance. He wasn't having a good morning, but he was about to make it worse. At 6:47 a.m., a silver SUV approached the gate slowly. The driver's window rolled down, revealing a woman, mid-30s, calm, confident, dressed in a simple jacket, her hair tied back neatly. Her name was Dr. Elena Ward, a civilian military researcher assigned to work directly with Special Operations Command. She spoke politely. "Good morning, Sergeant. I'm here for my 0700 briefing with Command." Miller barely glanced at her ID folder. He had seen thousands of people come through, soldiers, contractors, technicians. But something about her triggered his ego. Maybe it was her calmness. Maybe it was that she didn't look like someone important. Or maybe it was simply his habit of asserting power where it wasn't needed. He frowned. "I don't see your name on the access list." Dr. Ward's eyebrows lifted slightly. "It should be there. Clearance Alpha 1. Check again, please." Her voice wasn't demanding. It was controlled, experienced, someone used to being around authority but not flaunting it. He didn't like that. He flipped through the pages lazily, pretending to search, then handed the folder back. "Nope, not here. You'll need to turn around." She didn't move. "Sergeant, I need to be inside the base in 13 minutes. Please verify with the duty officer." Miller stepped closer, irritation sharpening his tone. "Ma'am, I said you're not authorized. Don't make this difficult." Other cars started lining up behind her. A young private at the second booth noticed the tension and called out softly, Sergeant, maybe I can check the updated list?" It refreshed 20 minutes. Miller cut him off sharply. "I said I will handle this." The private flinched and lowered his eyes. Dr. Ward glanced at the young soldier, then back at Miller. "I need to step inside for national security work. This delay is creating an issue far above your pay grade." Miller scoffed loudly. "You're not special, lady." Those words were the exact words he would regret. Because unknown to him, the base was already tracking Dr. Ward's arrival through internal systems. Her vehicle had pinged the security network, the operations center had spotted the delay, and a message had been sent directly to command, reporting unusual obstruction at Gate Alpha. Inside the base, 3 men in decorated uniforms looked up simultaneously as the alert flashed across the screen. General Hawthorne, General Ruiz, General Stanton. 3 of the most powerful figures on the installation. General Hawthorne stood first. She's been stopped at the gate? Ruiz grabbed his cap. By who? Stanton muttered. Whoever it is in trouble. They stepped out of the command building together, their boots echoing across the concrete. Meanwhile, at the gate, Miller was still lecturing Dr. Ward, louder now, harsher now, as if raising his voice would make him right. You're wasting everyone's time, I already told you. But he froze mid-sentence, because from the corner of his eye, he saw a dark government SUV approaching fast. Then another, then a third. All three vehicles stopped hard in front of the gate, and stepping out were the three generals. Miller's face lost its color. The private beside him swallowed hard, whispering, Sergeant? Why are the generals here? Together. Dr. Ward simply watched, silent, calm. Because she knew what came next. The generals weren't here for Miller. They were here for her. And the guard had just made the biggest mistake of his career.
The air around Gate Alpha shifted instantly. Where there had been routine morning quiet, there was now pressure, authority, an unmistakable weight that swept over the checkpoint as the three generals approached in a synchronized stride. General Hawthorne, the highest-ranking officer on base, led with a stern jawline and razor-sharp eyes. General Ruiz walked beside him, calm but unreadable. General Stanton, towering and broad-shouldered, followed with a look that could turn steel into dust. Sergeant Miller's rigid posture collapsed into a stiff, panicked mess. The private next to him instinctively stood at attention. Dr. Elena Ward remained in her vehicle, hands folded, gaze steady. Not fearful, not triumphant, simply patient. The generals stopped in front of her car. Miller swallowed hard and stepped forward, voice cracking. Good morning, generals. Is everything okay? General Hawthorne didn't even glance at him. Instead, he leaned toward Dr. Ward's window. Elena, I'm sorry, we got the alert. Dr. Ward nodded lightly. It's all right. I tried to resolve it at the gate. General Ruiz scoffed under his breath, apparently unsuccessfully. Hawthorne stepped back and finally turned toward Miller. His voice dropped into a tone that froze the private's blood. Sergeant Miller, explain to me why Dr. Elena Ward, our top civilian strategist for Project Sentinel, was denied entry. Miller's eyes widened, his breathing doubled. He hadn't realized who she was, not even remotely. He stammered. Sir, her name wasn't on my list. I just followed protocol. General Stanton stepped closer, towering over him. Protocol? Did you verify with the operations center? No, sir. Did you run her clearance card? No, sir. Did you check the updated roster? No, sir. Stanton's brows lowered. So you followed which protocol exactly? Miller's voice shrank. I was just trying to maintain security. General Ruiz crossed his arms. And instead you obstructed classified work, delayed an urgent briefing, ignored the updated roster, and contradicted your subordinate who tried to correct you? The private next to Miller flinched, not expecting to be mentioned. General Hawthorne exhaled sharply through his nose, a sign anyone on base recognized as the calm before thunder. He asked quietly, Sergeant, do you have any idea who Dr. Ward is? Miller closed his eyes for a second, bracing for impact. No, sir. Hawthorne replied, She outranks every civilian and nearly every officer on this installation. She advises Joint Command. The only people above her work in Washington. Miller's jaw dropped. Ruiz added, She designs strategy that protects this base, this state, and this country. Her clearance is higher than yours, mine, and half this base combined. Then Stanton's voice boomed, And you blocked her because you didn't like how she looked? Miller tried to defend himself. I didn't say... Hawthorne cut him off sharply. Your tone said it. The tension tightened. The private spoke up timidly. Generals, I tried to tell him her name was updated on the list. Sergeant Miller told me not to interfere. All three generals turned their heads toward the private. Ruiz nodded slowly. Thank you, Private. You did the right thing. Miller felt his stomach drop. He had just been exposed by his own subordinate. Hawthorne stepped forward, lowering his tone to a dangerous quiet. Sergeant Miller, your job is to protect this installation, but protection is not the same thing as ego. You let arrogance override duty. Miller looked down, throat tight. The general continued, You disrespected a senior advisor to special operations, you delayed a classified briefing, and worst of all, you ignored the chain of command. Miller whispered, Sir, I made a mistake. Hawthorne answered, Yes, you did. Then he turned around, and in an unexpected shift, Hawthorne opened Dr. Ward's car door himself. Elena, please, come with us. She stepped out gracefully, offering a small nod to the private who had tried to help. Thank you, she said quietly. The young soldier straightened with pride. But before following the generals, Dr. Ward turned toward Miller. Not with anger, not with spite. Just a professional calm that cut deeper than shouting ever could. Sergeant Miller, I hope you remember this moment. Not for my sake, but for everyone who comes through this gate after me. Power is a responsibility, not a weapon. She walked past him, escorted by three generals. Miller stood frozen, humiliated, his heart pounding so loudly he could barely hear the traffic behind him. The private looked at him with a mixture of sympathy and disappointment. As the group moved toward the command vehicles, General Stanton paused and looked back at Miller. Sergeant, report to the base colonel's office after your shift. Miller's knees nearly buckled. That was not a meeting anyone wanted. The SUVs pulled away with Dr. Ward inside, the three generals surrounding her like a protective wall. The gate fell quiet again. But the story was far from over.
3 armored SUVs sped through the base roads, engines humming low as they carried Dr. Elena Ward and the generals toward Strategic Command. The air inside the vehicle felt heavy, not with anger, but with urgency. General Hawthorne glanced at Elena from the passenger seat. You all right? You didn't need to be the one apologizing back there. Elena smiled faintly. Old habits. I prefer to avoid unnecessary conflict. General Ruiz chuckled. Conflict seems to find you anyway. Elena didn't respond, because she knew he was right. They reached the underground facility within minutes. Thick steel doors opened as military police saluted sharply. Inside, a swarm of officers moved with contained panic. Screens flickered with satellite feeds. Red markers pulsed along a border. And at the center of the room, Colonel Reeves, stern, exhausted, and already waiting. He walked over quickly. Dr. Ward, thank God, we can't finalize the risk assessment without your model. Elena nodded. Let's get started. But Hawthorne raised a hand. Before we begin, explain what happened at the gate. Reeves rubbed his forehead. I personally updated the list at 0030. Sergeant Miller must not have downloaded the new roster. Hawthorne's jaw tensed. We'll handle him later. For now, focus. Colonel Reeves motioned toward the large screen. A satellite image zoomed in. A convoy of unknown origin. Dozens of vehicles, moving toward an international border. No insignia, no identification, no communication. General Stanton muttered, That's a lot of hardware for a
training exercise. Elena stepped forward, analyzing quickly. She saw the pattern instantly. It's a diversion. The real threat isn't the convoy, it's the drone signatures shadowing it. She tapped the screen. 3 barely visible heat signatures glowed above the convoy. Too high, too precise. Unmanned stealth drones. General Ruiz exhaled slowly. How did we miss that? You weren't meant to see them, Elena replied. They're running a low reflective algorithm, but the trajectory is wrong, too smooth. They're being guided manually. She traced a path on the screen. The drones will cross into restricted airspace in 20 minutes. Stanton asked, "What's the objective?" Elena's voice lowered. If they reach the range, they'll have a direct line of sight to our weapons lab. Silence hit the room like a hammer. General Hawthorne stepped closer. Are you saying this is an infiltration attempt? Not infiltration, Elena corrected. Data theft or sabotage, possibly both. Colonel Reeves' face hardened. So, we scrambled jets. Elena shook her head instantly. No, that's exactly what they want. The drones are bait. Then what's the play? Ruiz asked. Elena pointed at a topographical ridge near the border. Set a jamming barrier here. Force them to autocorrect. When their signal falters, they'll descend for visual control. And then, Stanton asked. Then, we activate the ground intercept team. Hawthorne nodded. Send the order. Officers sprinted across the room, relaying commands. Lights shifted from white to amber. The base was entering partial lockdown. But while the room buzzed with urgency, Elena stood unusually still. Ruiz noticed. You're quiet. I'm thinking, she said. About what? About why the enemy would risk something this sloppy. It's not their style. Ruiz frowned. You think it's misdirection? She nodded. Something about this feels too easy. Before she could elaborate, the loudspeakers crackled. Attention! Gate Alpha requesting communication with Central Command. Priority channel. Hawthorne raised an eyebrow. Gate Alpha? Why? Colonel Reeves answered. Probably Sergeant Miller reporting. Elena shook her head. No, the timing is too perfect. The speaker chirped again. Command, we have a situation. Unidentified vehicle approaching, not stopping. Hawthorne's expression darkened. Patch them in. The radio burst alive with panic. Gate Alpha to command. Vehicle is not slowing. Attempted to halt. Ignored warnings. A second voice shouted in the background. Barricade, now! Stanton's voice turned sharp. Where is security? Why wasn't this reported earlier? Elena grabbed a tablet and zoomed in on the base's front gate. Her blood ran cold. A dark SUV was speeding straight toward the checkpoint. Lights off. Plates removed. Windshield blacked out. General Hawthorne swore under his breath. Elena whispered. This wasn't about drones at all. It clicked in her mind. The convoy, the drones, the whole operation was a distraction. The real breach is happening right now. General Ruiz leaned forward. They're going after the strategic wing. They're going after you, Elena. Before she could respond, the radio erupted. Gate Alpha. They rammed the barricade. They're through. Unknown number inside the vehicle. Armed. Static swallowed the rest of the transmission. Colonel Reeves slammed his fist on the table. Security teams, lock down the inner perimeter. Alarms wailed through the base. General Stanton shouted, No one gets near this facility. But General Hawthorne had already grabbed his sidearm. Elena, we need to move. Now. She stayed frozen. Not for fear, but for realization. They're not targeting the lab, she said slowly. Stanton snapped. Then what? Elena turned to them, her voice calm, steady, and terrifyingly certain. They're coming for me. The room fell silent. Then everything erupted at once. Officers shouting orders, doors sealing shut, armed guards rushing into position. And above it all, 3 generals closing ranks around one woman as the base descended into chaos.
The alarms kept screaming through the underground command center, each pulse shaking the walls with rising urgency. Red lights flashed overhead like a heartbeat accelerating toward panic. General Hawthorne tightened his grip on his sidearm. "Elena, we move. Now." Stanton pointed to 2 guards nearby. "Escort her through Corridor Foxtrot. We'll intercept the intruders before they get close." But Elena didn't move. Instead, she stepped toward the central monitor. Her eyes locked on the path the hostile vehicle was cutting through the base, smashing through small barriers, weaving around buildings with disturbing knowledge of layout and timing. This is no random assault. They know exactly where to go. General Ruiz approached her side. How would they know the base's structure so well? Elena didn't answer immediately. Her mind was racing, connecting pieces, recalling patterns, matching signatures. Then it clicked. "It's my fault," she whispered. Ruiz frowned sharply. "What are you talking about?" 6 months ago, during the Sentinel Files breach, someone stole fragments of the base schematics. Not enough to build a full map, but enough to give them access routes. I spent weeks building countermeasures. I thought we caught every trace. Stanton stepped in front of her, towering and firm. "Elena, this isn't your burden, it's theirs. And right now we need you safe." She looked at him, jaw tense, courage replacing regret. "I can't run, not when I'm the objective. If I hide, they'll push deeper into the base. If I stay visible, we control the engagement." A heavy silence fell. She was right. Hawthorne exhaled a slow, reluctant breath, one only men in command make when forced to accept a dangerous truth. "Fine," he finally said. "Then we anchor here. Ruiz, Stanton, positions." They moved instantly. The entire command center shifted into a defensive stance. Barricades locked, backup generators hummed, armed personnel formed layered perimeters. But the danger was closing fast. The breach. "Impact in 10 seconds, an operator shouted. On the monitor, the rogue SUV barreled down the final access road, straight toward the underground elevator shaft that led directly to their door. General Stanton barked, "Teams Alpha and Bravo, engage!" 2 squads emerged from concealment, rifles raised. The SUV swerved, fast, precise, and a side door burst open. 3 armed men leapt out, rolling behind concrete barriers before the vehicle even skidded to a stop. Stanton cursed under his breath. "They're trained." Gunfire erupted, short, controlled bursts, professional, not chaotic. Inside the command room, Ruiz slammed a fist on the console. "They're trying to flank us!" Elena watched the tactical feed. Not flank, breach. Hawthorne's eyes narrowed. They're heading for the maintenance tunnel. Ruiz stiffened. That tunnel leads straight to... All eyes swung toward the heavy steel door behind them. Elena. The last line. General Hawthorne spoke without hesitation. "No one gets past this room, not a single step." Ruiz took the left flank. Stanton moved right. Hawthorne stood in front of Elena, sidearm steady, expression carved from iron. Outside, alarms echoed closer. Boots scraped concrete, shouts. Metal rang as a wrenching explosion shook the outer corridor. The lights flickered. A voice yelled, "Contact! 2 hostiles down, 1 advancing." Then static. Elena inhaled slowly. "General, we can't let them all die for me." Hawthorne didn't turn. "That choice isn't yours to make." She lowered her voice. "It was always mine, long before today." He finally looked back. In her eyes, he saw not fear, not weakness, but duty. Stanton's voice snapped through the chaos. "They've breached Corridor Bravo, 1 hostile making final approach." Ruiz aimed down the hallway. "Visual!" he shouted. A masked figure sprinted into view, swift, precise, and heavily armed. He dove behind a pillar, fired a burst, and moved again with surgical efficiency. This was no low-level infiltrator. This was a specialist. Stanton gritted his teeth.
They're trying to get close enough to throw a charge. Elena stepped forward. No, he's not here to blow the door. Ruiz blinked. Then what? She stared at the blurry enhanced feed. He's here to take me alive. The room froze. Hawthorne's voice darkened. Over my dead body. The hostile made his final move. He darted from cover, sprinting straight down the corridor, fast, unpredictable, and armed with a non-lethal capture device. Stanton fired. Ruiz fired. Sparks exploded around the intruder's armor. He didn't stop. He lunged, but Hawthorne stepped into the open with terrifying calm. One shot, clean, final, precise. The hostile collapsed mid-charge, sliding across the concrete to a silent stop. Smoke drifted in the hallway. The alarms continued, but the gunfire ceased. It was over. Aftermath. Military medics rushed through the corridor. Security swept the area. Command officers began stabilizing systems and restoring order. Elena stood among the chaos. Quiet, steady, but pale. Hawthorne approached her. "Are you all right?" She nodded. "Yes, just tired." Stanton added, "You saved this base today. The Sentinel files, the intercept plan, identifying the infiltration, and you were willing to expose yourself to stop further loss." Elena shook her head softly. "You protected me, all of you." Hawthorne's expression softened for the first time that day. "That's what we do, Elena. Rank or no rank, this base takes care of its own." A young private approached, the same one from Gate Alpha, face still smudged with dirt, uniform singed from proximity to the blast, but standing tall. "Ma'am, generals, we have the perimeter secured." Elena smiled. "Good work, soldier." The private swallowed, pride swelling. "Thank you, ma'am." As he walked off, Elena turned back to the generals. "I hope Sergeant Miller learned something today." Stanton almost laughed. "Oh, he did. He's been lectured by the colonel, the commander, and probably by every NCO on base by now." Ruiz added with a smirk. "Gate Alpha might be the safest place on Earth after this." They all chuckled. Then Hawthorne spoke calm and sincere. "Elena, next time you come to this base, call one of us. We'll meet you at the gate ourselves." She laughed softly. "I'll hold you to that." The crisis was over, the threat neutralized, the base safe. And as the alarms quieted and the lights returned to normal, 3 generals and 1 extraordinary woman walked out of the command center together, side by side, stronger than before.